Hello, everyone. We are live and back with the Amateur Expert Show, episode number 5. First episode that's not in my car, so that's exciting, but also a little nerve-wracking because I can't control the noise. So we'll see what happens. But today's episode, we have my friend Kim Henderson. She's the founder of Unbreakable, and she is here. So let me add her. Perfection.
Hey.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Sorry. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Can you see me like my whole self, or do I look like cut off to you?
Yeah, it stops right at your glasses, like at the top of your glasses.
Okay. Wait, hold on. I'm still at work.
No problem.
So let me try to. Okay, let me see. Hold on. Let's see if I can make this work. Okay, I'm a little slanted. Is that better?
Oh, I think you might be falling.
Okay. Is that better?
Works for me, if it works for you.
I guess so. What is this dark line? Look at me. Hold on. Let me get it together.
Take your time, girl. Take your time.
I hear you are in Chicago. Are you traveling for work?
Yes. So I'm in my hotel room and the sirens keep going by and I'm like, guys, I have something to do soon. So I need you to relax, please.
Oh gosh. I love seeing your face. I love this.
Thank you. It's
so awesome.
nerve-wracking to do it every week, and I'm happy that I keep doing it, and I'm happy that people keep wanting to be a part of it. So thank you. So let's get started. I've known you from the Yukon days. We've had mutual friends, but
Yes.
And we've, social media friends, and I'm very proud of what you're doing with Unbreakable. I read your bio, and I am so excited to hear more about you and for you to share your story with our audience. So could you introduce yourself to us, please, and let us know what you do currently for work, and what that means, what some of your responsibilities are, what your day looks like.
Yes. So I am Kim Henderson, formerly Roberts. Everyone from Yukon knows me as Roberts, but I am now married.
Congrats.
In your questionnaire that you sent over, it was so funny because when I looked at the question, like, who am I? Like, tell me about yourself. It is so easy to just kind of list your roles. Like, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, but then I started really thinking about that, like, Kim, who are you really, right?
Who are you?
Aside from all of those roles, who am I as an individual? So I think for me to introduce myself, I think I want to start with, I am a compassionate woman. I am a person who likes to see others succeed no matter what. I try to find the best in everyone, and find and pinpoint their strengths, and pinpoint their powers to encourage them and do other things like that. So Kim, as an individual, I am an encourager and a motivator. That is
Beautiful.
who I am. And I think that translates into what I've become, right?
Yes.
Where I am right now. So as I am, currently I am a medical social worker. I work at NYU Langone Medical Center. I am in their orthopedic rehab. So I deal with a lot of patients who have come in due to either some kind of traumatic brain injury or due to some stroke or whatever have you. So I work very closely with them and their families in the area of advocacy, counseling. As you can imagine, when your life is interrupted by such a degree, you
Mm-hmm.
require a lot of support, a lot of emotional
For
support.
sure.
So I am to provide that as well. So that's what I do currently.
And you are also the founder of?
Woman Unbreakable. I have my pin. Look. You can't
Yes,
really
rep
see
your
it.
set.
I'm like ready. Like I am like a walking billboard at
As
all
you
times.
should be. As you should be. What you're doing is amazing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Oh wow. So Woman Unbreakable is what can I say about that? Oh, okay. So Woman Unbreakable, for my bio I sent you, I think it was a seed that was birthed in me from when I was a teenager. I just didn't know what it was yet, right? Once again, I'm an encourager and a motivator. I identify strengths and different things like that. So I've always had a passion for working with women, especially young women. So, as I, traveled through my journey, I've met people like you. I've met individuals at UConn. It was so funny because at UConn, they would call me Mama Kim. And it was like, yo, Kim, you are a person that gives great advice.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we come and we're in your presence, we feel so uplifted, we feel so motivated. And it was always just a part of who I was,
Right. Yep.
So fast forward, I was watching a TV show one day. Well, it was a movie. And in the movie, there was these two guys they were friends or whatever have you. One of the guys came over to the other guy's house to try to invite him out. And that guy's daughter and essentially said, Uncle Dave, I want to see you. Can you come to my dance recital? And his response was, oh, I'm sorry. I don't go to those kinds of dance recitals. I go to dance recitals that involve broken women on poles.
Oh.
Right? So this was like in the movie.
What?
And I was so taken aback by that. Like, yes. I don't know why it triggered me so much, but I was like, wait, pause. Is he trying to imply that women who are strippers are broken and they don't have, much to offer?
Right.
So that kind of triggered me to the point where I was just tired of hearing this word broken being used in context for women whose lives may not have essentially aligned perfectly with what society deems as being the perfect woman or the perfect life or whatever had you, right? And then it also dawns on me that we as women in general, we take on this narrative of being broken, not understanding that that word in of itself is so negative. Like, right. For instance, when you hear broken, what do you think of?
Honestly, most times myself. But something that was put together and that has fallen apart.
That's fallen apart. So for me, when I hear broken, I think of something that doesn't have any value, right? I think of
or
something
lost its value, right?
Or has lost its value, right? Or something that can be discarded, or something that needs to be fixed, right? Yep. And then society has told us women time and time and time and time again, you need to be fixed, right? So they make most of their money from the self-help books and all of this, for me personally, I know when I hear something negative, it sticks. I don't care how positive I try to make it sound, whatever, that sticks. And if you identify yourself as lacking of value or no longer having value, how does that now impact the things that you go after in your life? Correct. How does that now impact the decisions that you make as it relates to relationships? How does it then impact the way you view yourself and what you feel you are worthy of? Right? If you ascribe to this narrative of being broken, regardless of whether or not you take it as, well, I'm putting back together, God is making me whole again. If you keep hearing broken, 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 there is a certain part of you that identifies with not having value.
Right. I was going to say, I think either puts you in two streams. Either you're always seeking to add value to yourself, or you're going down the slippery slope of, well, I don't have the value anyways, or I don't have, so that's how I either perceive it. It's either you're on a constant search of being better, or being fixed, or trying to find the answer, or you're just
exactly
letting it run wild.
Exactly. And that was my point. So with that being said, I said to myself, life happens, right? Some of us may not have had the best families. Some of us may not have made the best decisions. Some of us may not have, ended up being exactly what it is that we had envisioned in our minds.
Correct.
But is that an indicator of lacking of value in any way? And for me, it's not an indicator of lacking in value, because that's a part of life. We make mistakes. We don't, fully follow through with everything that we want to follow through with. There's a lot of things that are happening with us, but it's not an indicator of you lacking in value in any way. So Woman Unbreakable essentially is saying, I know for a fact that I am not broken. I may need instruction. I may need to refocus. I may need some motivation. I may need some inspiration, but I'm not broken. I'm still,
I like that.
Right? So for me, I'm trying to reframe the narrative from being a negative one to it being a positive one. Let us focus on the fact that though you may not have made the right decisions, though you may not have understood your worth, or whatever the case may be, you still have strengths that you can rely on. You still have strengths that we can pick up on, and you still have strengths that would allow you to get to the next level, to where you need to be. And that is what we're here to do. I'm here to tell you that you are resilient, you are powerful, you are strong, you are beautiful, and I don't care what life throws your way, you are that. And that's what you stand on. You are unbreakable. You stand on that. And when life kicks you down, right? Because life has a way, right? Life kicks you down, it stretches you, it brings you to your very knees, literally. Life brings you to your knees.
For sure.
And when it does that, the first thing you should fall back on is knowing that inside of you, you have that value. So I will not be on my knees for very long.
Right.
I am able to overcome. I'm able to rise above, because I know that I am valuable. I know that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And when God constructed me and made me and molded me into who I was, he knew and understood that I was valuable. So I don't need man to tell me I'm valuable, because God already validated me.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
So that's Woman on Break, because I'm tired of women always feeling like there's something wrong with me. And when you feel like there's something wrong with you, you're always seeking for an answer. You're always seeking to correct yourself. You're always seeking for something, and it never fully makes you feel whole, because deep down inside, when you start unpacking everything, there is this sense of not being valuable.
So what I want to ask you is that at this day and age, you are very intuitive with your inner strength. So when you were younger, we all sort of trying to figure it out. Did you want to go into a field where you thought that you would sort of explore this sort of were you passionate about these same things when you were younger? What did you think you would be when you were
younger?
When you were
a doctor.
I
was like dead set on going to medical school. Like that was my trajectory. I was going to end up in medical school.
And what made you?
Right. So it all goes back to when my mom was in the hospital. I had it in the bio. And I was so infatuated with how well her doctor kind of handled her. And I was kind of drawn to the compassion that he had for her. Once again, it goes back to, I really and truthfully believe you are born with your purpose. It's just where exactly does it align? Like, so I've always been compassionate. I always wanted to help people. So it was either, am I supposed to be doing that as a doctor? Am I supposed to be doing that as a therapist? Am I supposed to be doing it at, whatever? So for me, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. I know I'm compassionate. I want to help people. I want to heal them and all these other things. And I spent most of my college years on that trajectory, trying to do that. But then again, I would be like, oh, let me do psychology because I like the mind. I like to know how people think. And so when I went to UConn, I studied psychology, but then I would still do the pre-med prerequisites in order for me to go to medical school, because that's
what you thought.
I thought I was going to do.
And so I wonder if you equated success to the care of others. It doesn't seem like you, after reading your bio and hearing you talk now, excuse the sirens, it doesn't seem as though you were ever driven by finances.
No.
It seems like, so tell me a little bit more. What at that age did success look like to you?
Success to me looks like happiness, right? Mm-hmm. And we often don't say that very often. And I tell my husband this all the time. We do like mental health check-ins with each other. And I'm like, where's your happy scale right now? Where are you on your happy scale, right? And I think I associated that with my mom, although she didn't have much, we didn't have much, she created an environment that was filled with happiness. Mm-hmm. So even in the times where it was down or it's sad or whatever, I remember the happy times. I remember the times where we sat and we called it big breakfast, where we would sit with each other every weekend, every morning, and have a big breakfast where she would check in on us, check in on how we were doing. My mom also functioned in a way where she's like, you know what, my door is always open. Mm-hmm. So if anything is happening with you, I don't even care what it is. You need to come. You need to open the door. We need to have a conversation. So though we did have our ups and downs and we had our moments where it wasn't the greatest, that key point for me was always that happiness and feeling happy. So for me, success always equated to being happy, and whatever that meant for anyone. Like, what does that mean? Does it mean like, you have a family? You may not have a mansion, but you and your family is in a 2-bedroom apartment and it's happy, and that's successful to you. So for me, success has always been associated with happiness, never finances.
So what made you transition from being pre-med to becoming a licensed therapist?
I shadowed. I shadowed a doctor. And for me...
Which field were you going to go into? General medicine? Or?
Mm-hmm. So I shadowed a doctor, and for me, I'm not one to be focused a lot on the logistics of things.
Okay.
Like, for me, I lead with my heart. Like, I definitely lead with my heart. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times doctors have to be very black and white. Yes. And they have to be very by the book, I would say.
Okay.
So it's difficult for them to sometimes see the things outside of the presenting illness. And for me, I am always like, I do understand that this woman is here and she is, battling with diabetes and high cholesterol and all these other things. But what's happening in her life? Why is that the presenting symptoms? Why is it that she cannot regulate her eating? What is happening from her from a mental, emotional, and a environmental standpoint that's leading to the manifestations of what you're seeing in the hospital? And for me, it was those questions that led me into social work, because social work is a person and environment discipline. We look at a person and what's happening in their environment and try to figure out how can we best help that person before they get to the hospital and they battling with diabetes and cholesterol and all these other things. Like, how can we address the psychological components?
That's that's great. And I think it's important to shadow. It's important to ask questions, so that I think there's a lot of people that go into careers not being fully committed to everything that it entails, or thinking it's going to be one thing and it ends up being something else. So I'm happy that you had that experience and you were able to fine tune it, and um, you can be happy about going to work or doing, feel pride in the work that you do.
Yeah.
So my next question is, what is something that you've learned, or wish, or are in the process of still learning, that you wish you had known when you first started your career?
To be honest with yourself.
And what do you mean when you say that?
Yeah, I think that so often we are not very honest and very true with our own selves, because we ourselves are battling with so many insecurities, right? We're battling with what we define as being successful, but not only what we define as being successful, what is other people think of me being successful, right? And then we have this, not only this internal battle, but we have this external battle with what other people is expecting of us, and what they would want for us to do or want for us to become, right? And then I think for me, being honest with myself led me to understand that a lot of the things that I labeled as being just a part of Kim, right? Like my perfection or being particular or all of these other things, actually led to a lot of hindrances in me becoming ultimately what it is that I knew I should have been or wanted to be by this age. So I feel like for me, as I look back on it, if I was honest with myself, I would say, you know what, Kim, you didn't do X. You masked it under the fact of you being perfect or you wanting it to be perfect. But when you unpack that a little bit, you were insecure about how you would be perceived, or you were insecure in your ability to accomplish X. And because of that, and you masking it under the fact of, I'm not doing this because I want it to be perfect, you then hindered yourself from opening a door, an opportunity, because you masked it under the fact of you being perfect. But if you were being honest, you would have said to yourself, regardless of you being fearful, if it would have succeeded or failed, you would have took a shot and you would have tried and you would have done it. So I think looking back on it now, if I could identify one thing for myself, was, Kim, you should have been very honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself about what your fears, your expectations of yourself is. Be honest with yourself about where you are looking for validation, right? Because now you want everyone to kind of tell you you're going in the right direction, you're doing the right thing, and having that external validation, like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm good, like I got this. But the reality is all of those things were just masked in me trying to say, oh, I'm just, I want it to be perfect. I'm very particular about the opportunities that I want to do, or whatever, right? And we make all these excuses.
Indeed.
And now as I'm older, I'm now unpacking all of these insecurities. Like doing this right now, I'm anxious because I know for a fact that a part of my insecurity is how I'm perceived.
Okay.
That's a part of my insecurity. My insecurity is knowing that, when I open my mouth, like for me, I have a very tiny voice. And this probably stems back from like when I was a child. But I have a very tiny voice. So I'm like, oh my gosh, when I open my mouth, people are going to say, oh, she sounds really annoying. Like, I don't want to hear.
Listen, I have the same insecurity. It took me forever to actually start doing this.
Right. Right. So I think that now that I'm older, I find myself being very honest with myself and checking myself and doing things outside of being fearful, because that's the only way you're going to have your breakthrough. So I have to be honest with myself. So when you asked me to come on the show, I was like, I don't know. But then I said, you know what? I have to be the person that I want other women to become. I have to be that. I can't be encouraging other women to step out in faith and be fearless and do all of these things. And then when I shut the phone off or I come off the phone or whatever have you, I'm in my corner and I can't even make those steps myself. That's foolish.
Great. That's good. Well, I'm proud of you for doing it. Pooch is in the room saying hey.
Hi,
So the last question I have for you is, I pride myself on knowing a little bit about a lot. So I'm asking you to please share with me a random fact or a random tidbit of information that I can keep in my pocket.
Hi, ladies. A random. Does it have to be serious? You know,
no,
me,
it could be a Snapple fact. It could be, did you know that?
Okay, so did you know that? So I love Beyonce. Like, I am like a huge
Beehive
Beyonce fan.
Yes, same
like,
here.
Huge. But anyway, fact about me. If the Lord would have blessed me with the talent to sing, I would sing. Like, I would, you see, like, Booch is in here. Like, Booch knows how to sing.
Boochie can sing for sure.
Boochie she can sing for sure. But I wish the Lord would have blessed me with a singing gift.
Okay.
Because I would have done that. Like, I would like headline in like a lounge or something. No, you know what? Actually, besides that, I would be a dancer as well. FYI, I would be an entertainer, but
Listen,
I have no entertaining gift.
We could go on the road together with our non-entertaining selves, because that is truly a goal. Like I always say, if I could just be Beyonce, like I don't even have to be famous, but like just I think her tenacity, her work ethic,
it's amazing.
Her skills,
and if I could drop weight in like 30 days like her, I'd do it.
But she also only ate air. But I was like, ooh, I don't know. I can't subscribe to that, B.
Oh,
I
one
love
of my
you so
mentors
much.
is here. Hi, MK. She's their boss lady, Karen. She's one of my mentors. I love her.
So this has been fun. I'm so excited that we did this. I want you to please share how people can find you. Do you do so? So I know that you, based on what I read in the bio, you mentor young ladies in groups and also individually. Are you booked? Are you taking more folks? Or how do people reach out to you? What is the process?
I'm always taking more folks, but I primarily mentor a lot of younger women. So ages like 20 to like 30-ish. But Woman Unbreakable, you know, a part or component of Woman Unbreakable that I do want to do is a mentorship. So I'm hoping, you know, that comes, you know, to fruition. But, you know, people can find me on Woman Unbreakable, on Instagram. You know, hit me in my inbox. I see a lot of women here from there. So they know, like, if you hit me in my inbox, I will chat with you forever.
Perfect.
And I will check up on you. So you could definitely.
Go ahead.
Jinx, you could go ahead.
I'll put your handle in the YouTube. So after this is released, it'll go on Instagram for 24 hours, and then it's posted on YouTube forever.
Oh my God.
So I will put all of your contact information up there so people can reach out to you.
Yes. Join the movement. If you're not a part of Woman Unbreakable, join the movement.
She's doing great stuff, guys. Great stuff.
Thank you so much, Ash.
Thank you. And we'll have to do this again. When the mentorship starts up, we can do it again.
Definitely. Love you. You look beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You too.
I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.